This is KSNT News. Good Tuesday morning. And now it's time to talk about Riley County law enforcement with Police Department Director Dennis Butler. Dennis, it's probably been a good 2 to 3 months. It's good to see you again, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, likewise. Same to you and your audience.
Well, one crime that you're trying really hard to reduce right now is motor vehicle thefts and car break-ins. So what can citizens do to maybe provide some help and get this down?
Well, the news is not different and the messaging is the same. Last year in 2020, over half of the cars that had items stolen from them were unlocked. Only not even 10% of the cars were damaged when they were locked because of a theft. And as far as cars being stolen, a full third of the stolen cars were left unlocked. And so our message is the same as it's always been, and we really encourage our citizens to lock their cars, and if they have valuables inside, to please either take them out with them or hide them out of plain sight. And if we feel if they can do these things, we'll experience fewer crimes related to cars.
What numbers do you have for 2020 as far as violent crime and then crimes against maybe persons or against maybe houses or break-ins and things like that?
Yes, in 2020 compared to 2019, Part 1 crime was slightly down, and that includes violent and property crimes. Violent crimes were slightly up, slightly down, my correction. But property crimes were slightly up, and so it was pretty flat. And when you look at the 5-year trend, again, not a tremendous difference there. So calls for service were down. We definitely saw less activity in the county in 2020 compared with 2019.
Now, apparently your department's getting a lot of calls about scams going on. You certainly want to inform people about this. So let's touch on the first one about impersonating an officer. Can you explain that one?
Yeah, this has been going on for over a year now, and it involves various scams, but the most common one is a person receiving a phone call from someone claiming to be a police officer or a civil process officer and telling the person they're calling that there's a warrant out for their arrest, and then they request money. And what citizens need to know is we don't call people to tell them there's a warrant out for their arrest, and if they're suspicious about the caller, they can do two things. One, they can call our dispatch center and ask to speak with someone to verify if they're wanted. But there's an even simpler way. They can go on either the district court website or the municipal court website, and all the warrants that are outstanding are listed there. So they can see if their name is on the list, and if it's not, then it's probably a scam they're facing.
And in our remaining moments, touch on the scam that involves stimulus checks. What's happening with that?
Well, it's another scam. Sometimes this is by email, but again, mostly calls, and it's when someone will call a citizen and say, you know, your stimulus check is ready. We can get it to you faster than normal for a small fee. And they'll ask somebody to either pay them through a payment app or some other form. First of all, the IRS doesn't call these payments stimulus checks. That's the first clue. And the second clue is they wouldn't be calling them at all. They would receive something in the mail, or the check would just be deposited directly into their account based on their tax return information. So these kinds of calls and contacts about warrants, payments, all of these things are almost always a fake, and please don't fall victim to it and call the police if you suspect that it is.
All right, Dennis, I thank you for the conversation. And you can learn more about other scams that involve down payments for renters, also about fundraisers and community partnerships when Dennis joins Aaron LaRoe at 7 o'clock for Fox 43 AM Live.